There's a powerful truth in life that many people overlook. Your presence is not ordinary, it's extraordinary. The energy you bring, the love you give, the consistency you provide, it creates a foundation in someone's life, even if they don't recognize it right away. But here's the twist. Most people only realize that when it's gone. The moment you step away, the moment you choose to remove your energy from the table, that's when the weight of your presence crashes down on them. That's when the missing begins, deeply, painfully, undeniably. Your absence doesn't just leave space, it leaves an echo. It forces reflection, it creates longing, and it awakens truths that were ignored when you were still there. And while that missing feels like his burden, the real gift is that your absence gives you back your power, because when you step away, you aren't losing, you're reclaiming, and it's in that reclaiming that everything changes. When you're present in someone's life, it's easy for them to mistake your energy for something ordinary. They see you every day, they hear your voice, they feel your support, and slowly, without even realizing it, those things become woven into the fabric of their existence. It's like the rhythm of a heartbeat, steady, reliable, always there, but just because it's constant doesn't mean it's insignificant. In fact, it's the very opposite. Your presence leaves an imprint that goes far beyond the surface. It shapes the way someone feels about themselves, the way they see the world, and even the way they move through life. You may not notice how powerful your influence is while you're there, because it feels natural to give, to care, to show up. Yet those small actions, those quiet moments, those subtle energies, they build a foundation stronger than anyone realizes. The moment you step away, however, that foundation is shaken. Suddenly, the little things that seemed invisible become painfully noticeable. The good morning messages, the way you asked about his day, the energy you carried into the room, all of it becomes something he starts to crave. It's not just the big gestures that are missed, it's the everyday presence that once felt so normal. He begins to notice the silence where your laughter used to be, the emptiness in spaces where your energy once flowed. And as the days pass, those imprints grow louder in his mind, echoing with every moment of quiet. That is the power of presence. It leaves traces that absence can't erase. What's remarkable about presence is that it often works beneath the surface. He may not have been able to articulate what you brought into his life while you were there, but once you're gone, he starts to realize it with piercing clarity. He misses the way you made ordinary days feel special. He misses the steadiness you brought in times of chaos. He misses the sense of being seen and understood without having to ask for it. All those things that felt effortless when you were around now feel like luxuries he no longer has. And the longer the absence lasts, the deeper those imprints become. They don't fade, they sharpen, and with that sharpening comes a deeper longing. Your presence is not just about physical closeness, it's about emotional impact. It's the warmth of knowing someone genuinely cares, the security of knowing someone shows up without fail, the joy of sharing life with someone who brings energy, passion, and meaning. That kind of presence cannot be replicated or replaced. Once it's gone, the gap it leaves behind feels unbearable. He doesn't just miss you because of what you did, he misses you because of who you are. The imprint you leave is tied to your essence, and that essence cannot be duplicated. That is why, the moment you're gone, the missing isn't shallow, it's deep, relentless, and undeniable. Absence creates contrast in a way presence never could. When you are there, your energy blends into the rhythm of daily life. It feels so constant, so reliable, that it's easy for someone to believe it will always remain. They may not fully grasp the depth of what you bring, because the comfort of your presence masks its true weight. But the instant you step away, everything shifts, absence becomes a mirror, and in that mirror the contrast is undeniable. Suddenly, he sees the difference between life with you and life without you, and that difference is sharper, louder, and heavier than he ever imagined. Contrast is powerful because it reveals what was hidden in plain sight. While you were present, he may have overlooked the way your energy kept him balanced, the way your care softened the edges of his world, or the way your presence filled the emptiness he didn't even realize was there. But once you're gone, the void exposes it all. The silence where your voice used to be, the loneliness in moments that were once shared, the heaviness in routines that once felt light. All of it screams the truth he ignored. Absence strips away the illusion that he could live without your influence. It shows him with clarity how much fuller, brighter, and more meaningful his life was because of you. This is the beauty and the sting of contrast. It doesn't just remind him of what he had, it forces him to feel the weight of what he's lost. He doesn't just notice your absence, he feels it in his bones. The conversations he used to take lightly now replay in his memory. The moments he brushed aside now haunt him in silence. The things he assumed were guaranteed suddenly feel priceless. That is the effect of contrast. It transforms what once felt ordinary into something extraordinary, and the more he realizes it, the more deeply he begins to miss you. Absence also creates contrast within himself. He starts to notice the difference between who he was when you were around and who he is without you. With you, he felt steadier, more seen, more supported. Without you, he feels unbalanced, incomplete, and adrift. This inner contrast is perhaps the hardest to face because it shows him that your presence didn't just enhance his world, it enhanced his sense of self. Without you, the emptiness is not only external, it's internal. And that realization is what makes him miss you so deeply, because it's not just about missing your presence. It's about missing the version of himself he only knew when you were there. So absence, though painful, becomes the most powerful teacher. It magnifies every overlooked detail, every unspoken value, every quiet gift you once brought into his life. And in that contrast, he sees what he refused to see before, that your presence was not replaceable, it was irreplaceable. That is why the moment you're gone, the missing doesn't feel casual. It feels urgent, it feels consuming, and it feels like a truth he can no longer escape. Missing is more than memory. It is an experience that touches every part of life. When someone thinks about you after you're gone, it doesn't stop at recalling your face or replaying a conversation in their mind. True missing goes deeper. It slips into the quiet moments, into the routines, into the empty spaces where your energy used to live. It isn't just a thought that comes and goes. It's a feeling that lingers, a heaviness that follows, a reminder that something essential has been removed. That's why when you step away, the missing that begins is not casual. It's profound, and it reshapes the way he experiences his own world. Memories are easy to hold onto, but missing you isn't about a single memory. It's about the void that lives between memories. It's about reaching for the phone and realizing your name won't light up the screen. It's about walking into a room and noticing the silence where your laughter once filled the air. It's about feeling the difference in the smallest habits, the things that once seemed insignificant but now stand out like giant markers of your absence. That's what makes missing so powerful. It creeps into the ordinary and makes it extraordinary in hindsight. Missing you is also about emotion. It's not just thinking, I remember when she did this, or I remember when she said that. It's about the ache that comes with those memories. It's about the sudden rush of longing, the pang of regret, the flood of emotions that arrive uninvited when something reminds him of you. It's walking past a place you once went together and feeling a knot in his chest. It's hearing a song and suddenly being pulled back into a moment that no longer exists. Missing you becomes a living emotion, not just a fleeting thought, and it goes even deeper. Because missing isn't just about you, it's about what you brought into his life. He misses the steadiness of your presence, the comfort of your care, the way you anchored him when life felt overwhelming. He doesn't just miss your smile, he misses the way your smile made him feel. He doesn't just miss your words, he misses the reassurance those words carried. He doesn't just miss your presence, he misses the sense of belonging that came with it. That's why missing is more than memory. It's tied to identity, to emotion, to the very fabric of how he experiences himself and the world around him. This kind of missing is not easily silenced. It follows him into the night when he tries to sleep. It greets him in the morning when the day feels colder than it should. It lingers in the background no matter what he does. And no matter how much he tries to push it aside, the truth remains, what he feels isn't just nostalgia, it's the deep ache of absence. It's the realization that life doesn't feel the same without you, and no memory alone can fill that void. That's the weight of missing. It's not about the past, it's about the present, about the way absence reshapes his reality in ways he can't escape. Distance has a way of awakening desire in a way closeness never could. When you are near, it's easy for your presence to be taken for granted. The comfort, the laughter, the steady energy you bring, it blends into the rhythm of daily life. But the moment you step away, distance creates a sharpness that makes everything clearer. What once felt ordinary becomes extraordinary. What once felt consistent becomes precious. Distance turns presence into a craving because it forces him to feel the weight of not having what once felt certain. Desire grows in absence because the human heart always longs for what it can't immediately have. While you are close, there is an assumption of tomorrow. Another conversation, another smile, another chance. But when you're gone, that assumption vanishes. Suddenly, every detail of who you are becomes magnified. The sound of your voice, the way you moved through a room, the spark you brought into simple moments, all of it starts to play on repeat in his mind. And the more he replays it, the more the desire builds. It's no longer just a preference, it becomes a hunger. Distance also removes distractions. When you're there, life is happening in real time. Work, stress, routines, responsibilities. But when you're gone, those distractions fall away, and what remains is the raw truth of how deeply you mattered. It's in that silence that desire takes root. He begins to notice what he overlooked. How much calmer he felt when you were near, how much lighter his days were because of your presence, how much meaning you added without even trying. Distance strips away the noise and reveals the essence, and that essence is what he finds himself longing for. The beauty of distance is that it doesn't just create desire for your presence, it also creates appreciation for your absence. He begins to see that life without you isn't neutral. It's heavier, it's emptier, it's less alive. And the more he feels that gap, the more his desire grows, not just to have you back, but to hold onto you in a way he didn't before. Distance becomes the teacher he never asked for, showing him that what he thought was guaranteed is actually invaluable. And this is why desire born from distance feels so different from ordinary longing. It's not casual, it's not surface level, it's deep, urgent, and consuming. It isn't just about wanting to see you again, it's about wanting to feel whole again. The absence pushes him to confront what he truly values, and in that confrontation, the desire grows stronger, more undeniable, and impossible to ignore. Distance doesn't just awaken desire, it fuels it, deepens it, and transforms it into something that will not let him rest until it's faced. Presence is often misunderstood until it is redefined through absence. When you are around, your presence can seem like background music, comforting, steady, but so constant that it blends into the fabric of life. It's easy for someone to mistake that constancy for permanence, to assume that it will always be there. But the moment you step away, the truth comes alive. Presence is no longer something to be assumed. It becomes something to be cherished. Absence shines a light on it in a way nothing else can. When you are gone, he realizes that presence isn't just about physically being in the same space. It's about the energy you carried, the warmth you radiated, the safety you provided, and the way you made life feel lighter. It's about how you could shift the atmosphere of a room simply by walking into it. How your words could calm storms, how your smile could cut through even the heaviest days. These are things easily overlooked in the moment, but painfully obvious in absence. Presence redefined is no longer about routine, it's about impact. Absence creates clarity, and clarity redefines value. What seemed small suddenly feels monumental. The good morning message, the laughter at the end of a long day, the way you remembered details no one else did. Those once felt ordinary, but in their absence they feel extraordinary. That's what happens when presence is redefined through absence. The little things transform into everything. He doesn't just miss the big moments. He aches for the small ones, because those were the threads that held his world together more than he ever realized. This redefinition also forces growth. He begins to see that presence was never about convenience. It was about connection. He starts to understand that having you near was not simply an addition to his life. It was the foundation that made life richer, brighter, more meaningful. And when that foundation is removed, he feels the cracks. The gaps where your presence used to be make him realize that connection like yours cannot be replaced or replicated. It isn't just about having someone around, it's about having you around. The most powerful part of this redefinition is that it transforms the way he looks at time. Presence is no longer something to take lightly. It's not a guarantee, it's a gift. Absence teaches him that every moment matters, that every interaction holds weight, that every second of your presence is irreplaceable. And as this truth sinks in, he doesn't just want to have you back. He wants to hold onto you differently, more deeply, with a level of awareness he never had before. That is the gift and the pain of absence. It doesn't just highlight what was lost, it redefines what was always there. Love has a way of revealing itself most powerfully in the void, in the moments when it's no longer physically present. While you are there, love can be felt in laughter, in touch, in the simple exchanges of daily life. But when you are gone, love doesn't vanish, it shifts. It transforms into a force that shows itself through longing, through emptiness, through the undeniable awareness that something essential is missing. The void does not erase love, it amplifies it, magnifies it, and makes it impossible to ignore. When you leave, the void you create is not just silence, it's a mirror. It reflects back to him what your presence truly meant. Love that might have been hidden beneath routine suddenly stands out in sharp relief. He starts to see that it wasn't just companionship, it was connection. It wasn't just conversation, it was understanding. It wasn't just moments together, it was meaning woven into his everyday life. Love is revealed not in the comfort of presence, but in the ache of absence, where every memory becomes a reminder of what was real, what was deep, and what cannot be replaced. This void also brings vulnerability. It strips away the illusions of independence, the pretenses of control, and it shows him the raw truth. Love made him softer, stronger, more human. Without it, he feels the cracks in his armor. He realizes that love wasn't a luxury. It was a necessity, the unseen current that held him steady when life grew heavy. The absence exposes how deeply woven that love was into his identity. And in that exposure, the truth becomes undeniable. Love wasn't just something he felt, it was something he depended on. The beauty of love revealed in the void is that it teaches through contrast. Presence brought warmth, absence brings cold. Presence brought fullness, absence brings hunger. Presence brought certainty, absence brings longing. That contrast sharpens awareness. It makes the heart recognize what the mind was too distracted to see. And in that recognition, love rises to the surface, stronger, clearer, and more undeniable than it ever was before. The void doesn't weaken love, it intensifies it, because it strips away everything else and leaves only the core. At its deepest, the void becomes the ultimate teacher. It reveals that love is not measured by how easy life feels when someone is near. It's measured by how hard life feels when they're gone. That weight, that ache, that emptiness is not a sign of weakness. It's a testament to the power of love. Because love is not fragile and it does not fade with distance, it thrives even in the emptiness, it echoes even in the silence, it grows even in the spaces where presence used to be. And in that void he comes to realize that love was never just something he felt for you, it was the very thing that made his world whole. Every journey through connection, absence, and longing ultimately leads to one undeniable truth. Presence matters more than we ever realize in the moment. The day you step away, the entire rhythm of life shifts, and it is only in that disruption that the full weight of your influence comes to light. What once blended into the background suddenly takes center stage, and what once seemed ordinary is remembered as extraordinary. The conclusion of this message is simple but profound. Your absence is not empty, it is powerful. It awakens awareness, ignites reflection, and transforms the way love and presence are valued forever. What becomes clear is that longing is not weakness, it is evidence of depth. The ache he feels when you're gone is not simply about missing company, it's about missing the meaning you added to his world. Your laughter, your energy, your presence carved out a place so unique that nothing else can fill it. The longing proves that connection has roots deeper than routine, stronger than circumstance, and more enduring than distance. In the silence of your absence, he discovers the truth about how much his heart depended on the steadiness you brought. As the days stretch without you, clarity sharpens. The small gestures, the subtle comforts, the countless ways you made life lighter all come flooding back with piercing intensity. Absence redefines presence, and in doing so, it reshapes priorities. Suddenly, moments that once passed unnoticed become the very things he craves the most. It is in this space that gratitude is born, not the shallow kind spoken in passing, but the deep gratitude that comes from realizing that something truly irreplaceable has been lost. This is the power of absence. It forces the heart to see what the eyes overlooked when it was right in front of them, and within this recognition, love stands revealed. Not in the easy smiles of companionship, but in the restless nights, the quiet longing, the undeniable sense that something is missing. Love in absence is louder than love in presence, because it carries the weight of truth. It strips away illusions, removes distractions, and makes it clear that what was shared was not casual, it was vital. This love is not diminished by distance, it is intensified by it, proven by how deeply it continues to live even when you are gone. In the end, the conclusion is not about loss but about awakening. Your absence becomes the mirror that forces reflection, the teacher that reshapes appreciation, and the fire that reignites desire. He does not just realize what you were, he realizes who he becomes without you. And that contrast is everything. The void you leave behind is not empty space. It is a message written in silence, one that says, you mattered, you still matter, and no distance can erase the imprint you've left behind. That is the ultimate power of absence. It doesn't end love, it reveals it in its purest, most undeniable form. Thank you for walking with me through this journey of presence, absence, and the power of connection. Every word spoken tonight was not just about reflection. It was about awakening. It was about recognizing the silent truth that sometimes we only learn the real weight of someone's presence when we're forced to live without it. And if there's one thing I hope you carry with you, it's that your energy, your presence, your love is never ordinary. It is transformative. As we part ways here, I want to remind you that your absence carries a message just as much as your presence does. Don't underestimate the impact you leave behind when you step away. Every silence speaks. Every distance teaches, and every void reveals just how deeply you mattered all along. That realization is not just for someone else. It's also for you to remember your own worth, your own power, and the influence you hold on the lives around you. So as I close, let me say this. Hold your head high, not because of who notices you, but because of the undeniable truth that your presence changes lives in ways people may never admit until you're gone. Carry that with strength, carry that with pride, and carry that with love because it is your greatest gift. Thank you for being here, thank you for listening, and thank you for opening your heart to this message. This is not just a goodbye. It's a reminder that the power of who you are lingers long after you've left the room. Goodbye for now. Stay strong, stay present, and never forget, you matter more than you realize.